Well, it has come down to this. Game 7 of the National League playoffs. The final game between the Mets and the Dodgers takes place tonight in Los Angeles. It is a battle of runs, hits, and heart. And News 4's Sal Marciano was in California right now with a preview of the do-or-die showdown. Sal?
Chuck, what began in March at spring training camps in Florida, but continued through the 162-game schedule all summer, plus 6 more playoff games in October, ends here tonight at Dodger Stadium. The winners will be the National League champions going to the World Series. Last night, the Mets needed a spark. Kevin McReynolds and David Cone gave the Mets flames, and the Mets forced the 7th and deciding game. You know the Mets had to do it the hard way. Behind David Cone, they forced the 7th and deciding game as Cone spun a 5-hitter. Cone's beginning was wild after he walked leadoff man Steve Sachs on 4 pitches and went 2-0 on Mickey Hatcher. Keith Hernandez joined pitching coach Mel Stoudemire on the mound for a conference. What did they tell you in that conference on the mound?
Throw strikes.
What, it had to be more than that.
That's relax, sit back, and throw strikes.
What did you have tonight that you didn't have in your other start here at Dodger Stadium?
Aggressiveness. I just made up my mind I was going to establish my fastball early, and that's what I did, and I used it all night.
Kevin McReynolds was 4 for 4 with 3 RBIs, including a 2-run homer off Tim Leary.
I was just in a situation tonight where I could drive in some runs and got some pitches that I could hit and drive tonight. And that turned out to be a key in the whole game. Got David Cone some runs early, and he took over.
So the Dodgers and the Mets play one more time for the National League pennant. Orel Hershiser for L.A., Ron Darling for the Mets. And the center of the baseball universe is right here at Dodger Stadium.
Just because Hershiser's pitching, I mean, you can't beat him. We have to feel in our mind that we can beat him, and we do.
We'll go out there and slug each other tomorrow, and whoever wins, wins, and the other team has nothing to be ashamed of.
I feel confident we will win. If we don't, we'll tip our hats, wish them good luck, and we'll either be partying or we'll be making plans to go home tomorrow. I mean, either way, we've given an honest effort and busted our tails, and we can't do any more.
Well, this is it. That's for all the marbles. It's a one-game series now, and we've each won 3. And tomorrow will determine who's going to play in the Fall Classic, so we're hoping that we can do it.
Orel Hershiser had a dream year in 1988. His accomplishments in September and October were just simply astounding. But then the work he did from April through August, I'll tell you, that wasn't too bad either. Bulldog set the pace early with his 12th career shutout, a 3-hit masterpiece against the Giants on April 5th. He went on to win his first 6 games and posted a 1.56 ERA, earning him the National League Pitcher of the Month award in April. With Fernando Valenzuela plagued with injury and Don Sutton struggling early, the Dodgers looked to Orel for leadership. His regular season performance is one reason the team lost no more than 3 in a row all year. 12 of his victories came after Dodger losses.
He's come to the point now where when he throws a pitch, it's where he wants that pitch. And he's got such command of where he's throwing that ball. You're not going to beat him. I mean, you're going to beat him, sure. I mean, I don't care who a man is, he's going to get beat. But you ain't going to beat him. If he goes out there 10 times, he's going to come back 8 times to win it.
Well, Sparky, Orel was even better than 8 of 10 against the National League Western Division teams, winning 17 of 20 decisions. Bulldog just got tougher and tougher to beat as the season wore on. With the Dodgers in first place and preparing for the September stretch drive, he struck out 9 expos on August 30th. The last 4 innings of his complete game were scoreless.
And a 1-hopper to Stubbs. Franklin will do it himself, and Orel Hershiser has won his 18th.
On Monday, September 5th in Atlanta, Orel struck out Dale Murphy 4 times and pitched his 4th consecutive complete game. It was his 19th win of the season as he retired 16 consecutive batters between the 3rd and the 9th. Bulldog was getting in the groove.
Orel Hershiser wins his 21st. No runs, 6 hits, and 1 error for the Braves.
Hershiser is 1 out away from having a 40-inning consecutive scoreless streak. Here's the pitch. Popped up. This should be it. Socha throws away the mask in foul ground off to the right of the plate. He's got it, and Orel Hershiser has his 4th straight shutout. His 7th successive complete game, runs his consecutive scoreless inning string to 40, and lowers the magic number needed for the Dodgers to clinch the National League West to 4.
In his next game, Orel will be treading on hallowed ground, approaching the consecutive scoreless inning marks of Bob Gibson and Carl Hubble, plus Sandy Koufax's complete game record. Now, if that wasn't enough pressure, newborn son Jordan, only days old, had been in some danger with fluid in his lungs. Amazingly, Orel kept his focus on pitching, and fate stepped in to take care of the streak. Goes to Griffin for one. They throw it away. Uribe scores to second base is Ernie Wild. And the Giants take a 1-0 lead. And they call the interference play, and the inning is over. The inning is over, and take the run away, and the scoreless inning streak is still alive. And it could only happen with the Giants and the Dodgers.
And it's not measured by feet or anything like that. You must make an attempt to slide to the bag. And if the shortstop or second baseman is at the bag, you can hit him there. But you can't hit him once he leaves the bag area. You know, I mean, once he's out off to the right 2 or 3 feet.
The governor visited me in the 3rd inning. I got called off the electric chair right there. It was unbelievable. You know, and it did not take me very long to get off the field when I saw the call. I mean, I usually walk off the mound, just have a nice pace to myself. Some people call it a strut, but I ran off that mound and was greeted by a bunch of guys who were just laughing at me because they couldn't believe it. Nobody can go that good.
It was such a feeling of deja vu for me as I thought back to the Dick Dietz incident during my scoreless streak. In both cases, the umpire made a difficult and correct call. The task now for Orel seemed very difficult. He would need to pitch 10 more scoreless innings to break the record. In San Diego, he kept his appointment with destiny.
Well, I'll tell you, I think all good things have to come to an end, and this I knew was going to happen sooner or later. It is too much to expect it to go on forever, but I am very happy that
pitch is swung on, a fly ball to right. Gonzalez backs up, he's got it, and Hershiser has the record. The Dodgers now are going to go all out to greet him. Everyone in a uniform down there realizes what an incredible performance Orel Hershiser has turned in, and what a magnificent goal he has attained.
This is the record that when people ask me what record in baseball is going to stand forever, this is the one I used to say. Now I think somebody's going to break it from me because I know I'm not any big deal. When I tied it, I just got on my knee there when Hamilton threw the ball over there and just thank God for him catching it and throwing it first in the air, and then Stubbs caught it. And then after I broke it, I just thank God again, and I just kept going forward. And I thought it wouldn't have been all bad to have 2 Dodgers just sitting up there on top as a tie. But I was convinced by higher sources that they weren't going to take me out of the game. So I figured I might as well get the guy out.
My congratulations to a great guy. They call him the Bulldog here, and I think all of you have been able to witness that and see why. And at least we kept it in the family. That's the big thing.
The Mets lineup, Len Dykstra to lead off in center field, and as was the case last night, Wally Backman bats second, Keith Hernandez hitting in the 3 spot, Darryl Strawberry having a good series with 9 hits, bats 4th, and the big man last night, Kevin McReynolds, hitting 5th. Switch hitting Greg Jeffries, the rookie 3rd baseman, in the 6th spot, Gary Carter hitting 7th. Kevin Elster again gets the start tonight at short, and the pitcher, Ron Darling, who started Game 3 and was not involved in the decision. Orel Hershiser goes to the mound for the Dodgers, making his 4th appearance in the series. Once more, the inside pitch on Orel from Mike Schmidt.
Orel Hershiser's best asset for me is his hard curveball. I've seen Orel throw it as many as 4 or 5 times in a row to certain hitters, me being one of them. He also throws a very hard sinking fastball, which he uses to get ahead of hitters. We call it a heavy ball. He throws a very heavy ball. He breaks a lot of bats. Orel has a great feel for the game. He loves to pitch. He's great at moving around on the mound. He holds runners on well, and he's a good hitter.
And he'll face Dykstra, Backman, and Hernandez in the first inning. Back of him, Gibson, Shelby, and Marshall in the outfield. Infield, Hamilton, Griffin, Sachs, and Hatcher, and it's been that way for the last 6 games. Stubbs started game 1 at first base. Scioscia behind the plate, and here is Len Dykstra, who hit .270 during the regular season.
Did not start against Hershiser, didn't walk in that first game to really get him out of the ball game.
And the crowd very much in the game at the beginning, and the first pitch is a breaking ball, high, ball 1, 1-0.
Kind of an interesting first pitch selection, the curveball.
Well, you sit on the bench and you watch Dykstra the last couple of games. He has been smashing the high fastball.
And he hits this one in the air to left center field. Hobbling over is Gibson, and you can see the limp already. 1 out.
Boy, and when you see that, it goes back to the question we talked about last night. Is maybe 100% of somebody else better than 60% of Gibson? And I guess we're just going to have to wait and see.
The thing you can't wait, Jim, is if the players who are out there with him see him on one leg, it's got to be an inspiration to all of them.
Yeah, but how about defensively? And
well, that's true. I mean, tangibly,
problem.
I agree with you. There's no question about it. We saw him hitting before the ball game. The leg did not appear to bother him hitting as it did last night.
Wally Backman with Hamilton shortened up at third to guard against a prospective bunt. The count 1 ball and no strikes. Backman, who was hitting, and there's Hamilton in the 8th spot earlier in the series, moved up last night and strokes this one foul, and the count 1-1. 2-2 is looped over the head of Griffin out into left field for a base hit. First hit of the game belongs to the Mets. Backman is on with 1 out, and that'll bring up Keith Hernandez. Hernandez last night was 1 for 5. Overall, a decent series. Last night, however, in his first 3 at-bats, he stranded runners in each situation. A lot of missed opportunities for the Mets early on, but it did not come back to haunt them, thanks mainly to David Cone.
The Mets came out running last night with Dykstra on first. The first pitch, Backman hit and run. We'll see if they have the same philosophy tonight.
Hershiser, a very good move. We talked about it earlier. He breaks that left knee. Tough to get a good jump on. Better to hit and run with. And he's very quick to the plate, if you saw right there.
1-0 the count. And he misses away, and it's 2-0.
Well, that's the dilemma in my mind that Tommy Lasorda has. Here you have the guy that's been so outstanding the last couple of months. When do you relieve him if you need to? They used Brian Holton last night, who has pitched now in 2 consecutive days. Have a lot of other available pitchers, but it's tough to relieve your #1 starter, especially early.
The shot of Tommy indicated to me he's not real happy with the way Hershiser is throwing, at least at the moment.
Well, velocity, you mentioned velocity, Jim. Velocity not nearly as important for Hershiser as some pitchers. A pitcher like Dwight Gooden, for instance.
And it's 3-0.
And the reason for that is Hershiser throws a sinker, and sinker ballers are at times are even more effective when they're tired.
Well, Tommy John types, but my only problem is that when you pitch as much as he has, you got to work a little bit harder to get the ball to home plate. And when you do it, the ball straightens out. So when I say that he throws Backman a sinker down and away, yet he still did not hit it on the ground, he hit it into left field. He may not have as good a velocity, so he doesn't have as much action on the ball.
3-1. We'll watch Backman here, held on by Hatcher at first. Nobody out in the first inning. He goes, and the pitch is grounded foul. So it's 3-2.
If Backman ran 3-1, he's most certainly running 3-2 with Hernandez the hitter.
And Hershiser pays him a visit and almost had Backman leaning the other way.
Hershiser almost catching Backman leaning on that right foot.
1 out, no score, first inning. Backman, who singled at first. He goes, and the pitch is fouled away again. So Hernandez continues to make Hershiser work.
Of course, his main objective now is he knows he has to throw a strike to Hernandez. Let the guy get a little bit bigger lead, just throw a strike.
Backman goes, and the pitch is high, and so the Mets have an immediate threat. Runners at first and second, and 1 out. And Darryl Strawberry having a very good series coming to the plate. Funny thing about Strawberry, he's 9 for 26, and yet he hasn't had the real big hit, the hit that would make you sit up and take notice. So here is probably the most heralded of the Mets, at least offensively, having a big series, but kind of quietly. And he's 3 for 8 facing Hershiser in the playoffs. Strike, got the corner, outside corner. Harry Wendelstedt is calling the balls and strikes tonight. The full rotation complete now. Harry started there in game 1. John McSherry at first, Joe West at second, Dutch Rennert at third, Bob Davidson down the line and left, Paul Runge in right. 2 on, 1 out, and the 0-1 pitch is away, and the count is 1-1. 2-1 to Strawberry, is grounded to the right side. This may be the pitch. Sacks to Griffin, back to first, too late. Strawberry beats it out, just does beat it out to prolong the inning. Backman goes to third. So the speed of Strawberry, and the Mets are able to avoid a double play because of that. 2 down.
I think they avoided the double play because of the double clutch of Alfredo Griffin. You can see bang bang at first, but Strawberry beat it. The double clutch to Alfredo Griffin, or by Alfredo Griffin. It's a good throw from Sachs to the outside. Now watch. Now that little double clutch in the transfer allows Strawberry to beat the play.
Not completely in sync was Griffin as he came across the bag. McReynolds at the plate, takes a strike and the count 0-1. So Kevin, who was 3 for 20 at the beginning of last night's game and then was 4 for 4 with a sacrifice fly, but Hershiser has really had his number. 0 for his last 18 against Orel. 1-1.
He has not had a hit against Hershiser since 1986.
2-2 pitch is hit right into the glove of Hamilton. So it takes him 29 pitches, but he escapes a first inning jam. Dodger lineup tonight: Steve Sachs at second base, Mickey Hatcher at first base. 60% of Kirk Gibson bats third and left field. Mike Marshall is in right. Shelby in the number 5 spot with Mike Scioscia in the 6th spot. Jeff Hamilton, the third baseman. Alfredo Griffin, the shortstop. Orel Hershiser, who escaped a first inning quandary, on the mound. Ron Darling to the mound for the Mets. The inside pitch on Ron from Mike Schmidt.
The secret to Ron's success, in my opinion, is his great athletic ability and his attitude. He's one of the best fielding pitchers in the game. He just loves to play. He loves to pitch. He doesn't have overpowering stuff. He relies a great deal on finesse and deception. He has a running fastball that runs in on right-handed hitters and away from left-handed hitters. He must get ahead of hitters so he can stay out of the middle of the plate. His out pitch is his split-fingered fastball. He loves to get ahead of the hitter and get him to chase that split-fingered pitch.
And so here is Ron Darling working for the second time in the series. He was paired with Hershiser on the cold, rainy day, game 3, Saturday in New York. And he complained about the conditions, thought the game shouldn't have been played, and he can't complain about the conditions tonight. They're perfect.
Now, did spend 2 days in the training room after slipping and sliding his way through 6 innings. It's really hard to judge a guy after he pitched in those kind of conditions, but he did gut it out, didn't get hit hard, but gave up 3 runs. I think the most startling stat is 14-1 at home and only 6-8 on the road with an ERA of about almost 5 runs a game.
Steve Sachs takes low, ball 1, 1-0. Sachs, Hatcher, and Gibson in the bottom of the first inning.
I think gut it out is the key for Ron Darling. I think he's done that all season long.
To center field, base hit. Steve Sachs, who has stolen 5 bases in this series and had 42 in the regular season, leads off with a single. And up comes Mickey Hatcher.
Sachs and Darling and Carter, out of the 15 stolen base attempts, only thrown out 2. So everybody says he has a very good move, but takes a long time to get the ball to home plate. So the Dodgers feel they can run on him.
You look at the Mets defensively with Sachs at first base, and the pitch to Hatcher is outside, ball 1, 1-0.
The reason I said that about Darling is because Darling has been pitching with pain this year. His right arm has been bothering him, and yet in 25 of 34 starts, he has worked at least 7 innings.
Sachs goes, gets a great jump, and it's a base hit down the line and left as Sachs is on his way to third. Hatcher on his way to second with a double.
Amalfitani had held Sachs up at third base before Kevin McReynolds slipped in left field. Sachs had plenty of time to regain his momentum, but with nobody out, you just can't take the chance. Playing Hatcher in, Sachs 3 steps, he's looking up, and you'll see Amalfitani, when a double's hit down the left field line, you have to be a little more cautious. It's an easier throw for the left fielder, but Kevin McReynolds, in fielding that ball, slipped down. But with nobody out, Amalfitani could not take the chance of sending Sachs.
Why was he playing in? Excuse me, Al.
With the 3, 4, and 5 hitters coming up. Gibson at the plate and takes low, ball 1.
Very unusual place to play a guy like Mickey Hatcher. It's not a bunt situation, not a pull hitter. You play deep, knock that ball down, or you make the play. But
Mets infield playing back, and they'll give up a run on a ground ball and also on a fly ball this deep because backing up is Dykstra. Sachs is tagging, so is Hatcher. Both men advance. The Dodgers lead it 1-0. Last night a bunt, and tonight a 385-foot out to score a run.
Look where the pitch is, not up like David Cohn pitched him. It's down. He tries to hit this ball a long way. Right down the middle, outside part. Just missed a home run.
You saw almost no stride at all. That's what Manny Mota and Kirk Gibson were working on in batting practice today. Don't make the weight shift, just don't stride.
And as was the case the other day, the infield is back with Marshall going after a breaking ball. So Davey Johnson did this the other day. We found it curious, but he got away with it. He was down 2-0 and played the infield back and gave up another run on a ground ball and eventually came back to win the game. But what he's saying here is, I'm giving up a run on a grounder to go down 2-0, which means, of course, you've got to score 3 eventually to win the game.
Well, that was in the 5th inning the other day. In the 1st inning, normally you don't do it, but of course everybody knows this is not a normal ball game.
0-1 the count. In the dirt, and that saves a run, and the count 1-1.
Before Marshall came up, Davey Johnson held out 2 fingers of his right hand, which would imply that for the infield to play back until Marshall has 2 strikes, and then you may see the right side or even Elster move in, because a hitter is in a more defensive posture with 2 strikes. We'll see.
You think that Davey, who's a computer whiz, knows that Marshall's 3 for 18. You did, and he said, I chase bad pitches. Now, if you have that stat, you might play the infield in.
1-1 the count. And it's grounded foul outside third, so it's 1-2. Now let's look at the infield. Elster's saying to Backman, move in. You're exactly right, Tim. That's what they're doing. With 2 strikes now, the Mets play their infield in.
See, and Marshall chased 2 bad pitches. He said before the game, he says, I have to make him throw me strikes. He wants me to nibble. Of course, he doesn't do that, and now Darling has the edge.
Look how far Hernandez is off at first base.
30 feet. And a very big strikeout. In fact, a huge strikeout here in the 1st inning. with a man at third and one out. The infield can play at regular depth now with Shelby coming to the plate.
Well, he likes to get ahead and then throw the split finger. Now you see the ball, you see the spin on the ball, tumbling. Marshall, look how much he's over that ball.
Boy, that's a great shot of Gary Carter anticipating the split finger fastball down. You could see him going down before the ball even got there, anticipating it down.
Shelby at the plate. And of course, as far as Carter is concerned, not his best year by any stretch of the imagination, but all of the things that never show up in the box score. That pitch in the dirt, blocking the pitch in the dirt, and the pressure with somebody like Ron Darling and a man at third. Got the corner, 1-1. And Shelby takes away 2-1.
Well, of all the Met pitchers, especially the starters, probably has the least velocity. That's why it's that important for Ron to stay out of the middle of the plate. So he'll run it away from you, cut it in, throw the split finger and the curveball.
2-2.
And he throws you, sets you up. He has you looking away, and throws that ball right by you. You consider he won 17 games, which is the most he's ever won in his career with a bad elbow, or at least an elbow that's bothered him off and on. He's had a marvelous year.
Shelby, of course, strikes out a lot, 9 times already in this series. And he lifts this one down the line in right field, and it is a foul ball, just foul.
Oh.
And Paul Runge right on top of it to call it. Lasorda can't believe it. Less than a foot, I would think.
We have had
much less.
2 plays now in this series where a left and right field umpire have come into play. One defensively and one offensively. This ball couldn't have been fouled by more than an inch. Oh, boy.
And you can see Runge holding his fingers slightly apart, indicating to Lasorda by that much. 2-2 the count. The splitter gets him. Shelby strikes out for the 10th time in the series, and at the end of 1, it's the Dodgers 1 and the Mets nothing. A note here for what it's worth in the history of the championship series. Teams scoring the first run in the decisive game have won only 5 of 13. Decisive meaning either the 7th, as is the case now over the last 4 years, or the 5th game, because for the first 16 seasons of divisional play, it was a best of 5. But in the 13 series in which it's gone to that concluding game, the team scoring first has won only 5. Dodgers score first here today, 1-0 in the second inning, with Jeffries leading things off for the Mets. And Hershiser, who labored through the first and escaped unscathed, is 1-1 with him. Jeffries, Carter, and Elster in the second inning. 2-1.
Jeffries has been the most dominating hitter against any pitcher as far as either side is concerned. He has 4 hits against Hershiser and 1 walk.
In the air to deep right center field. Backing up is Marshall. Has a play, makes the catch on the warning track.
And I'll tell you what, one thing, you got to be a quick study if you're going to be a good pitcher. And Hershiser, who did not get his curveball over, he did get it over to McReynolds, is gone to the changeup. We have not seen him throw a changeup in the first 2 games, and you can see him just a little bit out in front, and that's why this ball doesn't go out of the ballpark. All those hits have been on fastballs. So here's Hershiser, and here's Marshall making the catch. Plenty of room. He's gone to the changeup early.
Gary Carter with 1 out and the bases empty, pops it in the air. Hatcher should have a play. 2 down. And so Hershiser has retired the last 4 in a row. Remember, he began the game after getting Dykstra. Backman singled and Hernandez walked. He got Strawberry to hit into a force, and McReynolds lined out to end the top of the first. So 2 down now in the second inning, and Elster is the batter. That's a liner by Sachs and out into right field for a base hit. So on a 3-2 pitch, Kevin Elster prolongs the inning. If nothing else, even if Darling goes out, that's a big hit in the sense that it turns the lineup over. It would mean Dykstra would start the next inning instead of Darling.
Right. Sandy Koufax used to talk about that. He said if you get the eighth hitter out, then you have the pitcher leading off the inning, and he can get out the 1 and 2 hitter, You always have the third hitter who's your best average hitter leading off 2 innings down the road. He's going to try to hit home runs instead of singles.
Darling, good hitting pitcher, squibs one toward third, fielded by Hamilton, and his throw off the bag, but Hatcher makes the catch and steps on first, and down go the Mets in the second. Still 1-0 Los Angeles.
Now, when we left spring training, I told you guys, if you work together, you pull together, you played like one ball club should, you'd be #1 in this league. And that's exactly where you are right now.
Tom Lasorda, 23 years in the Dodger organization. First as a pitcher, then as a scout. Now one of the most successful managers in minor league baseball. In 6 years of managing, Lasorda has won 4 pennants. Late in August, his Albuquerque Dukes lead the Pacific Coast League's East Division. But the only team with a chance to catch them, the second-place Salt Lake Angels, is in Albuquerque for a crucial series.
And if you think you got this pennant made, just let me tell you a little story of a guy that was out in a boat. And he was 1,000 yards offshore. And the boat capsized. And this guy swam and swam and swam with all the heart and drive that he had. And he got 4 yards offshore and he drowned. You guys are not on shore yet until you win the pennant. Some of you guys get a base hit and you get to first base and you stop. You got as far as a one-legged man could get. When you leave the batter's box, you got to want 2. And on a double, you got to want a triple. So let's go out there today, gang, and let's go get them. Come on.
Beautiful view of downtown Los Angeles, sunset. And this play ending the top of the second inning.
And an errant throw, and threw one away last night. Doesn't seem very relaxed at third.
He's got company, too.
Yes.
There's Steve Sachs trying to relax Jeff, and so's Mickey Hatcher. Well, that's a great shot there.
Absolutely.
You know, a lot of times it just takes the first
breath.
ball, yeah. I mean, this is what they said last night about Dave Cohn.
Want to know, I loved it. They asked all of the Mets, what'd you say to Cohn last night when they gathered around him after the 2 walks? Some of them were trying to pump him up, and others were trying to calm him down.
Well, yeah, Hernandez is yelling at him. Carter says, just take it easy, take a deep breath. Backman says, are you all right? I mean, of course, this is after he threw 8 straight balls.
Is grounded toward the hole, base hit. A second inning leadoff single for Mike Scioscia. 3 hits now off Ron Darling, and Jeff Hamilton comes to the plate.
Batting 7.
Wally Backman plays closer to second base because he doesn't go to his right as well as he goes to his left.
But also, Timmy, when you get a 3-2 count, you know a guy is going to throw a strike. You have to think maybe Scioscia's going to pull the ball.
Cheat a little more. You saw a ball like Mickey Hatcher last night hitting a ball into right field. Well, Backman, Hernandez, of course, gives him that ability to play, that independence, really, to play closer to second because Keith can range so far to his right. That's helped Backman a lot. But still, you'll see him closer to second than straight away at second.
Hamilton at the plate. 1-0 the count. Jeffries is even with the bag at third, looks into the dugout now and wants to see where Davey Johnson wants in position. Remember the other night, a tip-off here in a bunting situation when I asked Lasorda why he had Sharperson hit for Hamilton in a curious move in Game 4. He said Hamilton can't bunt, even though he did have 2 sacrifices this season. And the count 2-0. Base hit into left field. Scioscia will stop at second, and it's already 4 hits in an inning plus off Darling.
And how did they get him? He goes 3-2 on Scioscia. He goes 2-0 on Hamilton. And the key to Darling, he cannot. And you see Mel Stottlemyre right on the phone. They're not going to wait.
And they've got Dwight Gooden and Sid Fernandez available in the bullpen between innings. They went to the pen, and you will only see that in a 7th game, be it a championship series or a World Series. This was 2 minutes ago. Mackey Sasser, the catcher, with Fernandez on a coffee break, and the doc himself going to the bullpen.
The thing about it is, though, both of them are starting pitchers, and they're used to warming up for 15 minutes. You may not have that time now.
Here's Griffin up there to bunt, bunts, and it drops safely, base hit. with Hernandez backing up to the bag. Darling unable to get over there. It found the empty spot, and the bases are loaded with nobody out.
I am really surprised Hernandez wasn't playing even with the bag. He started out playing deep in the position, and Doc Gooden is warming up for the Mets. Hernandez is back. This ball normally caught. Darling breaks toward third, and Hernandez caught in between a base hit by Alfredo Griffin.
10-time Gold Glover got a little bit confused because Darling, and you can see his anger, he knows his position is towards the third base line. You've always talked about how Hernandez's quick move towards third base always gives him an advantage to throw a runner out. Didn't do it then.
Here comes Stottlemyre. Hershiser the batter. Darling has faced 8 batters. He's given up 4 singles, a double, and a sacrifice fly. Still, he trails only 1-0 in a jam in the second inning. I asked Gooden before the game, how long would it take you to warm up? He said what he had hoped to do tonight is go down in the second or third inning and loosen up and then be ready in the middle innings. He said, though, if I'm needed in an emergency, it would probably take me 10 to 12 minutes to warm up. Normally about 18, he said.
Well, what always amazes me is, and I started for almost 19 years, is how they think that a starter who's been starting all year is going to go down and acclimate himself to the bullpen when you have a guy like Terry Leach, who's done a marvelous job all year long. Maybe for an inning, maybe for an inning and a half or 2 innings, but as a long man, when you pitch a couple days before,
Infield up at first and third, back at short and second, and it's 1-0 on Hershiser.
And of course, what Darling has to do here is minimize the damage. You think it's not easy to pitch in the National League? In the American League, you'd be facing a regular hitter here because of the DH. He's got a chance. Hershiser has not had a good year hitting, but had 19 hits last year, led all National League pitchers.
Grounded toward Jeffries at third, and he drops the ball, throws to first. No! Everybody safe, 2-0. And there's a rookie thinking about, am I coming home with it? Or what?
Often when that happens, there's a peak. You're peeking at the base that you're going to throw it to instead of looking into the glove. Let's see if Jeff peeks or Greg. Yeah, he's peeking home. He's looking up at home. Watch it again before the ball gets there. See the look up? He was looking at home and the ball hit the heel of the glove, and he's got to go to first too late.
If he feels it cleanly, he has a chance because Socia was the runner, and all you have to do is get the force at the plate, no tag, and they get nothing. It's 2-0. Sachs is the batter. The Dodgers trying to break it open early. Scored as an error. Another save by Carter.
Oh, the big problem so far is Darling is not throwing the first strike over. He's falling behind every hitter. Hershiser going down to first base on this and running full tilt. And it looks like when he hits first base that he may have injured the left leg. We'll see.
2-1.
It's just real difficult to make quality pitches when you're always behind. 3-2, 2-0, now 2-1.
Sachs looks for a fastball here. If he doesn't get it, he spits at it.
That's what he got the base hit the first time.
Yep. A 1-0 fastball.
Yep. Trying to hit it right up, back up the middle.
Back up the middle for a base hit. Hamilton comes in to score. Griffin being waved in. The throw to the plate, not in time. 4-0. Johnson to the mound, Ron Darling to the clubhouse. And on 2 days rest, Dwight Gooden, who was warming up, figures to be coming into the game. Hershiser at second base, meanwhile, Hershiser shaken up as we showed you on the replay, and there's Bill Bueller out there to check him out. And a wry little smile, so it's not too serious, but they just want to make sure. Here comes Gooden, 4-0 Dodgers. Back after this word from your local station.
When his stomach balks, Davy Johnson reaches for serious medicine. Rolaids consumes all the acid required to bring millions 100% relief. And relief is needed on days like these.
I should have gone into golf.
Get serious relief. Get Rolaids.
We mentioned Sachs looking for a fastball. Look how hard he hits this ball because Darling almost catches it. Good reflexes. The ball's just hit so hard it's by him into center field.
Darling backing up home, and watch the play as Griffin crosses home plate. Initially, I thought Carter's foot tripped him, but from this angle it doesn't appear that that's the case. He just took that last long stride and the left foot just dragged across home plate.
Meanwhile, Hatcher bunts foul outside third. When we went to commercial, Bill Buehler was out checking out Hershiser, and when Gooden came in to pitch, Hershiser was able to go to the bench for a couple of minutes. And of course, with Hershiser moving down to first base to beat the throw from Jeffries, and we showed you the replay, and I don't know, that's not really a limp, that's just his gait there. But it's interesting that he did not attempt to go to third when the throw came through to try to get Griffin at home. He opts to remain at second and not extend it.
Now he's got to run hard on the bunt.
Right. Except Hatcher swings away and grounds it to the right side. The runners advance as Backman throws him out. And the runners moving as Hatcher is able to move them over on what amounts to a swinging bunt.
Yeah, he moves them over so they can walk Gibson.
Actually, the runners were running then. That is one of those rare hit and runs that managers talk about in spring training and rarely execute. Hatcher can handle the bat very well. Hershiser and Sachs taking off. You can gamble when you're up by 4, and that's Tommy Lasorda's intention right here, to gamble and try to blow the Mets out as early as he can.
Except I mean, Hatcher may have had a chance to get a hit, but he, in essence, gives himself up, so you know they're going to walk Gibson.
You got your number 4 hitter up there, though.
Right, and one pitch gets you out of the inning, so
one pitch blows it out, too.
That's true.
20 home runs on the year for Marshall, and he's having a good series.
Well, Marshall will come up with the bases loaded, facing Dwight Gooden, making his first ever relief appearance. And if you follow the Mets through the years, you know that they protected Gooden's arm. They never wanted him to pitch on 3 days rest. It was always 4. And now he's forced to pitch on 2.
Another example of that is he's only had 1 regular season game where he's pitched more than 9 innings. He did pitch 9 2/3 innings, or 9 1/3 at Shea against Houston in the '86 playoffs.
Not to mention they really watch his pitch count, because he's a high fastball strikeout type of pitcher, has a tendency to throw more pitches than other pitchers would normally do.
Mike Marshall, as you can see, he finally figured Gooden out to some extent in the last couple of seasons. Infield double play depth. 1 out, 4-0 Dodgers. Strike, 0-1. Breaking pitch.
Well, it might be because Marshall's really cut down on his swing because of the back injury. You know, he used to take a big long stride and come back. Now he looks almost like a right-handed Stan Musial from a stance standpoint.
That's grounded to the right side. Backman shovels, and it's a high throw, and they don't get anybody. 5-0 as the Mets come apart at the seams in the second inning.
Tell you what happened there. Wally Backman laid back on the ball instead of charging the ball, and by laying back, he didn't give the ball to Elster in time, and Elster has one eye on Gibson. Watch. Little soft toss, and Elster's just thinking about one, and in the transfer, he drops the ball. If Backman charges that ball, then he has a chance for the underhanded play.
Well, he's
what
too
an
far.
effort by Kirk Gibson.
Yeah, too far to throw the ball underhanded.
Yep.
We saw Steve Sachs last inning throw it overhanded. Didn't get the double play, but got the out.
Still the bases loaded as Shelby swings and misses. He's the 9th man to come up in a nightmarish second inning for the Mets. Their second error. They're down 5-0. And the Dodgers still with the bases loaded and only one out. To deep left center field. Backing up is McReynolds, deep enough to score a run. Sachs comes in to score. Gibson's going to third, and Marshall goes to second. A sacrifice fly, and it's 6-0.
Well, he gets the ball up in the strike zone, and he hits it deep to left field, and that's the right here. Gibson limps a little bit, but great speed. You know he's going to tag up. Marshall also tags up and gets into scoring position.
And the crowd boos the intentional walk to Scioscia, who began this parade with a single to right against Darling, and now Hamilton will come up with the bases loaded to become the 11th Dodger to bat in the second inning. Oh, 0-1. Sunday night at about 11 o'clock, Davy Johnson's team was 3 outs away from going up 3-1 in the series. That was a long, long, long time ago. One and one.
And the Dodgers, with all of that energy, poured it into 6 runs, 3 in the third, 3 in the fourth, Monday afternoon, and beat the Mets 7-4. And part of that was the energy from the night before, the momentum.
Saved again by Carter. 2-1 the count. Foul tip, and it's 2-2. Got him. But the Dodgers send up 11. Score 5 to the third we go. The crowd going wild. 6-0.
Dodger veteran Mike Scioscia. Outstanding defensive player and a very timely hitter. 3-2 pitch. And a ground ball toward the hole. A base hit to right field. Scioscia, a ground single to right. Right-hand batter Hamilton waiting. And the pitch on the way is swung on, hit hard. Base hit to left field. Moving in to pick it up, Kevin McReynolds. And the Dodgers are attacking. They have first and second and nobody out. And they are hitting Ron Darling hard. Now, how will the Dodgers play it? The number 8 hitter, Alfredo Griffin, is standing in.
Gooden's up and throwing.
So Dwight Gooden is up in the bullpen. Now the pitch. He's around to bunt. He bunts the ball. It might be beat out for a base hit. It will. The bases are loaded. Nobody out. Darling came off the mound going toward third. The ball was bunted back toward first base by Alfredo Griffin. It landed between the mound and first. By the time Darling got there to pick it up, no throw could possibly be made. And the bases are loaded. Nobody out. And Hershiser coming up. And a bouncing ball hit down to third. Fair ball. Bobbled. Throw to first. Safe at first. The run is in. The Mets do not get anybody. Slow ground ball hit down to third. Jeffries bobbled the ball. Had he not bobbled it, he probably could have thrown home and gotten a force play. Then he threw to first base. That throw was late, and the Dodgers may blow this one open. Bases loaded, still nobody out, and Steve Sachs is the batter. And a line drive through the middle, a base hit to center field. Hamilton will score. Griffin coming home. The throw to the plate, not in time. 2-run score. The Dodgers have a 4-0 lead. Sachs ripped it. Hard shot right through the box. Into center field, driving 2 runs in. And the Dodgers are on fire. And the crowd at Dodger Stadium has exactly what they came to see. They have a lot to cheer for. This will be it for Ron Darling. Davy Johnson is on his way to the mound. And Doc Gooden will be coming in the game.
This will have the infield at double play depth. The outfield is deep and almost straight away. The hitter is Mike Marshall. The pitch on the way. Bouncing ball to second. Maybe a double play. Backman to second. The ball is dropped. One run is in. Ball dropped by Elster at second. And everybody is safe. Bad throw by Wally Backman. And everything is collapsing on the New York Mets. It'll be an error on Wally Backman. Dodgers 5 and the Mets nothing. The hitter is Shelby, the 9th man to bat of the inning. Here's the pitch thrown by Doc, and a fly ball hit deep to left center. McReynolds on the run, warning track, makes the catch. Sachs tags up. He'll come in to score, and the runners move to second and third. And the Dodgers are routing the New York Mets. They are ahead 6-0.
Beautiful shot, and all is peaceful and placid and beautiful for the fans at Dodger Stadium after that second inning. A complete nightmare for the Mets, especially the infield.
Yes, this is the team that led the National League's in fewest errors. And right here, there's got to be a miscommunication. Darling's going to third. Hernandez thinks he's coming to first. The ball falls safely.
Here's the play with the bases loaded. Jeffries peeking up at the runner at third, and the ball hits the heel of the glove. And the throw late to get Hershiser at first.
And here a routine play, except he shovels it underhand instead of overhand off the bag. And Elster, he would have off the bag anyway. He's going to be safe. He never assumed that the umpire was going to call that, but it appeared that the throw was so far offline, he would have been safe anyway.
All right, now let's see about Hershiser. It's been a long time since he's been on the mound. He's also rounded the bases, and he's thrown a lot of pitches through 2 innings. So that's the little ray of good news for the Mets right now.
Yeah, but the bad news is Len Dykstra swinging at the first pitch with a 6-run deficit here. Particularly in lieu of the fact that Hershiser has a sore leg. You got to make him pitch.
He was shaking his leg when he warmed up.
0-1 pitch. Dykstra runs up to bunt and doesn't commit, and the count is 1-1.
Now it's the right leg, the one he pushes off of. Take a look again, very compact windup. Look at his right leg. Doesn't appear to bother him right now. He's a straight leg pitcher. He's not like a Tom Seaver, a drop and drive type pitcher.
Off the glove and out into center field. Hershiser just tipped it, but really couldn't slow it down. And Dykstra starts the 3rd inning with a single. So Len is on, and it brings up Wally Backman.
Second baseman.
Well, again, Lenny, that's an unusual swing. He fakes a bunt. Again, it's a 2-1 count, so he could afford to do that. Bring the third baseman in, and then hits a ground ball up the middle.
You remember we talked about it last night, about how he tries to drive it by the third baseman. That play, it hits Hershiser in the right foot.
Yeah, I thought it tipped off the glove. It actually hit him at the bottom of the shoe. 1-0 the count on Backman.
But that was that movement we were talking about with Dykstra in the batter's box. That unusual thing. He tries to suck the third baseman in to hit it by.
Backman lifts it in the air to left field. Gibson is there. 1 out. 1 gone with Dykstra at first. And that'll bring up Keith Hernandez, who drew a walk in the 1st inning.
If the Mets score 2 or 3 runs now, they can erase some of that heading backwards or being pushed backwards by the Dodgers. But they have got to erase that 5-run second some way. You can't do it by coming up empty here in the 3rd.
And they have Hernandez, and then Strawberry follows him, and McReynolds. 2-2 pitch is grounded down to Sachs. He goes to Griffin 1, back to first, double play. At the end of 2 1/2, the Dodgers 6 and the Mets nothing. 6-0, the Dodgers on top. And what about Kirk Gibson? If you're Tommy Lasorda, the way Gibson's reacting here, Lasorda may be telling him he's going to put Gonzalez into the lineup when we go to the 4th inning. We'll see. Griffin grounds out on the first pitch in the bottom of the 3rd. And it will bring up Orel Hershiser. A reminder coming up on Saturday, college football. 3rd-ranked USC hosting Washington. or Michigan takes on Iowa at 3:30 Eastern time. Now, Tim, if you're Lasorda, what do you do here? It's 6-0. You've got the gimpy Gibson, even though he obviously has run very well tonight. You've got Jose Gonzalez, an outstanding defensive outfielder. What do you do?
I think if there's any doubt as to whether he can go full speed like he did to second base, you take him out and play a defensive game, even though it's a third inning. I mean, it's not like Gonzalez has no experience as a major leaguer. He's been up parts of 3 seasons, and I think he'll be in the game in the top of the 4th.
1-2 the count.
You got 6 innings left, and you want the best defense you can throw out there, even at the risk of sacrifice. I mean, Gibson's already been the inspiration for 6 runs to be scored, or at least a case can be made for that.
And also, you don't want to jump the gun, but you've got to keep in mind, hey, you got a pretty good chance to go to the World Series right now, and why take that extra little chance and maybe lose him? Backman throws Hershiser out. Orel only going about halfway down the line to first, so he took that play off. But if ever a guy deserved to, it's him here. 2 down. Gibson and Charlie Strasser.
This is almost as big as a debate as we're going to have tomorrow night. It's a monumental decision here.
Well, you know that Gibson doesn't want to come out. But his body language indicates to us that Lasorda has already told him. Sachs at the plate. Knocked down by Gooden. And the Dodgers are gone 1-2-3. To the 4th inning we go. It's the Dodgers 6 and the Mets nothing.
I've come to historically probably one of the finest organizations that has ever been in operation. I come out here to win. That's my #1 goal every day, and believe in personal sacrifice if that's what it takes to win ball games. And you know, people get superstitious about this game, and you know, I've said it many times. I'd take an 0 for 5 in a W over a 3 for 5 in a loss any day, because again, when I leave spring training, I'm leaving to be a world champion.
As we went to commercial, Kirk Gibson done for the night, and you'll see Franklin Stubbs come into view. He'll grab his first baseman's glove, and he'll bat in Gibson's spot, and they'll move Mickey Hatcher to left field. So Gibson goes limping up the runway as we start the 4th inning. Hatcher now in left field. So Mickey moves from first to left. Stubbs in the lineup in the #3 spot. And Strawberry lifts a fly ball to shallow left center field. Shelby, 1 out.
Oh, we speculated about Jose Gonzalez coming into the ball game. And it's kind of an interesting move because Mickey Hatcher is not your best defensive left fielder. If they're going to get Stubbs in there as a left-handed hitter to face a right, I mean, you do have the alternative of Danny Heap.
Yeah, who hits much better as a regular player than he does as a pinch hitter, and then you save Stubbs if you have to pinch hit. So you only hurt yourself defensively in one place.
Yeah, and you leave Hatcher at first, who appears to be more comfortable than Stubbs has been.
At least of late.
Yeah.
And there's Gonzalez, who would probably, if this lead holds up for the Dodgers, eventually get into the game in the 8th or 9th inning. 0-2.
Of course, who are we to second guess Tommy? I mean, he's only got a 6-0 lead in the 7th game of the playoffs.
0-2 pitch. Well, again, I hope, if nothing else, it puts to rest, win or lose, for Lasorda. And we've touched upon it a couple of times during the series, the fact that Tommy, seated with Joe Amalfitano, a larger-than-life character to a lot of people, and you tend to overlook his managerial skills. But we mentioned in Game 1, his record speaks for itself. Finished his first 6 times in 12 years as a big league manager, 5 times in 8 years as a minor league manager, 2 other times with the Dodgers. The team goes down to the final day of the season. Got him on a breaking pitch. Fooled him, and down he goes. Reynolds more frustrated over the score than anything else, because there was no doubt about that pitch.
It's a combination of both of them. This ball does not break. It's they call a hanging curveball, just a backup curveball, and apparently Wendelstedt thought it got the inside corner. I think Kevin thinks the ball was high. You don't see emotion from him.
Line drive, base hit by Jeffries with 2 out here in the 4th inning. The strikeout of McReynolds was the first for Hershiser, so Jeffries with a single. The Mets have 4 hits, but Hershiser has spaced them. 1 single in each of the first 4 innings, and up comes Gary Carter.
I'll tell you can't help but be impressed by the heart of Kirk Gibson. I mean, here's a guy on a 3-year contract the first year, and it's very comfortable nowadays for people to criticize athletes with long-term contracts. But here's a guy you'd never know that Kirk Gibson has a long-term contract. You would think the way he's been playing that his contract's run out and he's seeking something.
Gardner hits a 2-bouncer to Griffin. He makes the play himself. That's down to the 4th after 3.5. Dodgers 6, Mets nothing. Back at Dodger Stadium after this word from your local station.
I got dirty an awful lot when I was little. What am I doing here? You know this.
You're playing baseball.
Yeah, that's right. It came natural to get dirty. Johnson's baby shampoo has been great for my hair all through my life. It's strong. It makes my hair look clean. It makes my hair feel clean, and it's gentle. Look at this kid's hair. I think it looks good.
Johnson's baby shampoo, now also with conditioners for extra control.
I shower 4 or 5 times a day. It's never made me cry.
Johnson's, for the life of your hair.
The Dodgers with a run in the 1st and then 5 in the 2nd when they sent 11 men to the plate. Lead 6-0 as you look down from the Goodyear Blimp, Columbia. Dodger Stadium, sort of reminiscent right now of the way Royal Stadium felt in the 7th game of the 1985 World Series, when the Kansas City Royals exploded early and eventually blew out the Cardinals 11-0.
The Dodgers have a pitcher that remembers that game, John Tudor.
Absolutely, who was the starting pitcher that night. And before that night was done, Tudor was getting stitched up in the hospital after punching an electric fan. Hatcher hits one off the end of the bat on the ground to second, and Backman throws him out. 1 away in the 4th inning, and it will bring up Franklin Stubbs.
First baseman, Franklin Stubbs.
That's what a good curveball do to you. Timmy has said all during the series, just a free swinger. Ball he hit the second base, that'd be about 4 inches outside.
Franklin Stubbs now hitting in Gibson's spot. And it was Stubbs who started this series. You'll recall he was the opening night first baseman and tried to bunt at a very curious time, and that, as much as anything else, caused Lasorda to remove him from the lineup. It's funny how you don't forgive somebody with an average of around 225, and then last night, I mean, what's Lasorda going to say when everybody says to him, what in the world was Gibson doing in the 1st inning? Tommy backed him to the hilt. 1-1.
So did Davey Johnson. He didn't want to get him angry. He said, I assume he's trying to get him over. Because I think the bunt that he failed to have later on in game 1 was even worse. He didn't execute a bunt in a sacrifice situation.
Ripped into left center for a base hit. Franklin Stubbs with a 1-out single in the 4th inning.
Right fielder, Mike Marshall.
And Mike Marshall coming up.
Oh, fastball hitter usually likes the ball down, but if you're going to swing at the high fastball, off Dwight Gooden, you better try to go the other way, and he does. Much better fastball hitter than breaking ball hitter.
Mike Marshall 0 for 2. Tries to check his swing. 0-1.
I'll tell you, I couldn't help but look at those 2 cards next to the Mets lineup, the ace and queen of spades. You see it right between Mel Stottlemyre and Davey Johnson. And we alluded to it last night, the queen being 13 points in a Hart game. And I'll tell you what, that queen of spades has taken on a different significance with the Mets trailing 6-0.
At the moment, I think somebody sneaked the joker in there. That's grounded down to Backman. He shovels to Elster and back to first, and this time they turn it. And at the end of 4, it remains Dodgers 6, Mets nothing.
Beware of the queen.
Dodgers leading by a score of 6-0 in Game 7. With the pennant at stake and Hershiser on the mound and 58 pitches for Orel through 4.
And the changeup, I think he's thrown maybe a few more of those, and that's the big difference. Has not thrown any changeups. Saw that his curveballs were not going over early. Went to that, got out of some trouble, and now he's got a 6-run lead.
And Elster will lead off, and then Magadan will come up to hit for Gooden. And then we'll see Dykstra, the 8, 9, and 1 spots in the order. The Mets with 4 hits, all singles, 1 in each of the first 4 innings. As Elster takes a strike. 0-1. So Magadan will be next. 6 runs, 7 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers. No runs, 4 hits, and 2 very costly errors for the Mets. Squibb, backhanded by Hershiser, 1 gone. You lead 6-0, you can smile.
Take a look at very compact windup, as I said. Good curveball. Not in great fielding position, but the ball's not hit hard right off the end of the bat. Ooh, little hot dog, but 6-run lead, and you make a good pitch, and you get a little bounder back to the mound. You got to be happy.
Hershiser, a remarkable athlete, played for the Philadelphia Flyers junior hockey team. He's a scratch golfer.
Well, not scratch 4, but that's scratch enough.
That's scratch to me, baby.
Well, he said when you're a kid, he said, I had a lot of problems. He said, who wants a kid that wears glasses and arms hang down to their knees on your team? What's amazing about him, if you watch his windup, posture is so important on a pitcher, and one of the keys is your opposite shoulder. You always have to eventually get that down. Look at the way he kind of just leans forward, so he's in the proper position to release the ball. Talk about efficiency of emotion. Again, a tuck. It reminds me a lot of Don Sutton. A little bit different variety of pitches. Don didn't throw a sinker, but Don with well over 300 wins.
Here's the 1-2 to Magadan. Got him. Changed up on him, and down he goes, and it's 2 strikeouts for Orel Hershiser. So 2 away with the bases empty in the 5th inning. Gary Carter, knowing his team is down by 6 with 2 out in the 5th inning, and Dykstra coming up, and Hershiser on the mound, and Howell ready in the bullpen if needed down the line. And on the road. And it's funny, and we talked about it to an extent last night, how insignificant what happened in the regular season becomes in postseason. To left field and racing over is Hatcher, and he makes the catch. At the end of 4½, it's the Dodgers 6 and the Mets nothing. In Los Angeles, Al Michaels, Jim Palmer, Tim McCarver, with Terry Leach coming in to pitch for the Mets. Orel Hershiser shutting out the Mets through 5. Dodgers all smiles on top 6-0. Started to mention about the insignificance of the regular season. The big storyline coming into this series. The 2 teams during the regular year, the Mets winning 10 out of 11. The Dodgers limited to 18 runs. And how insignificant that all seems right now. The Dodgers 4 innings away from 1974 redo as they would take on the Oakland A's in the World Series, and it would start here on Saturday. John Shelby leads things off. Has struck out and hit a sacrifice fly. 0-2.
Such a deceptive windup. Terry Leach is a submariner. I see too many pitchers that throw from this delivery point way down. Watch his right knee. You can see the dirt spot on it.
2-2 the count.
I'll tell you, if you're the Dodgers right now, you want to finish the Mets off. You want to knock them out. The Mets are a staggering boxer in the 12th round right now. There's still a chance. I'm sure Tommy Lasorda would feel more comfortable with 3 or 4 more runs.
Shelby down on strikes. You know, the other night when Mike Scioscia hit the home run, and he comes up to bat here. If this series is a seesaw, this is what tilted one side to the other. This was it. 9th inning, man on after the walk to Shelby, off Gooden into the bullpen. And before the night was done and into the next morning, after 12 o'clock, it was the home run by Gibson, the save by Hershiser, the victory later that day in Game 5, and that's when the series turned.
If the Dodgers do win, Mike Scioscia could be the MVP of the series. He led off the 5-run second tonight.
Well, you'd have a few candidates, even though Gibson's average is extremely low. Obviously, 2 very key hits, and then there's the man on the mound. And even though Orel Hershiser has not won a game in this series, he's had 2 no decisions. He's pitched very well in those starts. He, of course, had that save under extraordinary circumstances the other night. And now he's on the mound tonight. And it's funny, I think, you know, the contrast was interesting in the starting pitching tonight. Ron Darling quoted as saying they never should have played the game and spending time in the trainer's room. And Orel Hershiser threw more pitches under the same conditions on Saturday and came out of the bullpen after midnight on Sunday and warmed up on Monday and said he was ready on Tuesday.
One guy went to Yale, and Orel said he was academically ineligible his first year in college. There's always a saying in baseball, things don't go well, you're thinking too much.
Base hit for Scioscia. So his perfect night continues with 2 singles and a walk. And it will bring up Hamilton. Funny thing about what you anticipate from a team and what the end result is. If the Dodgers had lost tonight, or if they do lose, the season is still a success, and they surprised a lot of people by winning the West when they were picked to finish 4th or 5th. But for the Mets, it's a whole other feeling, because almost everybody expected them to go all the way.
One of the burdens of being picked when you have to and don't. Very, very disappointing.
Well, when you saw a picture of Davey Johnson, I mean, here's a guy that won 90 games in 98, then 106, then 92, and then 100. And most people feel that for him to be rehired, he has to win. At least we've seen no other indication of anything else. Can't be happy at this moment.
And what's really amazing as far as the Dodgers are concerned, if they go on to win, is to be able to bounce back after as disheartening a loss as Lasorda has ever suffered. Game 1, you've got Hershiser working on a shutout. You're a strike away, and the next thing you know, it's 3-2. And that's about as down as you can be when you come to the park the next day.
And that's when we have to remember the great job that Tim Belcher did. He's won 2 games. He's gotten some run support, but for a rookie pitcher to come in under those circumstances and pitch that type of game, which 10 strikeouts is all-time high in the major leagues. Quite a performance.
To McReynolds in left. And Kevin puts it away for the second out. So 2 down here in the 5th inning with Scioscia at first base. And that'll bring up Alfredo Griffin.
Now you could take that 2 steps further, actually. What about the Dodgers in Game 4 bouncing back after Jay Howell was suspended by National League President Bart Giamatti? And tonight, another situation. David Cone pitches a masterpiece last night, and everybody once again says, well, the Mets are ready for the knockout punch or whatever it is, and the Dodgers are ahead 6-0. So really 3 games that they've come back after victories by the Mets.
And there is David Cone, who went to the mound last night, staggering at the start, but when it was all over, he had the only complete game in the series, a 5-1 masterpiece to keep them alive. And Griffin pops it up. Elster on the skin part makes the catch. Dodgers done in the 5th after 5 in Game 7. It remains Dodgers 6, Mets nothing. You know, Hershiser's been so perfect, especially down the stretch. He didn't look like the Orel Hershiser of September for that first inning or 2 tonight, Jim, but all of a sudden he got into the groove, and it's amazing what a 6-0 lead will do for you.
Well, he got a 1 run in the first inning and then 5 in the second, and I get the feeling he's like the Clark Kent of pitchers. He shows up with just normal street clothes and glasses, puts on a Dodger uniform and those contact lenses, and then goes out and does what he's done since the end of August.
He's either Clark Kent or Captain Marvel. Shazam, right?
Yes.
He's Mr. Wonderful to Lasorda right now as Backman starts the 6th inning with a ground ball to Sachs. And one second baseman throws out his opposite number, 1 down. Hernandez coming up Saturday, 3:30 Eastern time and 12:30 in the afternoon Pacific. Regional action. You'll see either Washington against USC or Michigan against Iowa on ABC's college football this Saturday. Keith Hernandez walked and hit into a double play. 0-1.
You have to admire his heart, not only for this year and what he's been able to accomplish and what we've seen over the last 10 days, but he was 16-16 last year, lost 8 one-run ball games, 14-14 the year before. Both clubs were 73 and 89, so they were losers. He played 500, which is actually better. Yet he's never changed his style. I mean, Keith Hernandez says, I think he's throwing a little bit harder. Curveball's a little bit sharper. But that might be because of the mental frame of mind. I mean, here's a guy that did so much the last 3 or 4 days, yet he felt great about going out there.
And down goes Hernandez. Strikeout number 3 for Hershiser. Of course, until '85, championship series were only best of 5. But not only does he have 3 starts in this one, he's got that 1 relief appearance.
And that's the last pitch that Keith Hernandez expected. It just freezes him. Hasn't been getting his curveball over. Went to the changeup early. Comes back with a curveball, and you can see the frustration. Didn't expect it.
And if you're a Dodger fan, how much can you love now? 6-0 in front, 6th inning, to all in unison with that mocking Darryl chant enveloping Dodger Stadium. But it may be a love call as well, because he's already gone on record as saying he'd eventually like to play here. Lasorda was looking up, there's something going on in the stands, and we can't see what's going on. And that has caused the last 2 stoppages. Now we're ready again, and the pitch is up high to a chorus of Darryl, 1-0. 2-0 the count. And it's 3-0 on Strawberry. Taking all the way, 3-1 with McReynolds on deck. Changeup.
How about that? Changeup on a 3-1 count with a 6-run lead.
Well, I'll tell you what, he wouldn't have thrown it if he didn't think he'd get it over, but also good pitchers don't like to give up runs. I don't know if it's a changeup, he's definitely off speed, but maybe just a BP fastball.
At the end of 5 1/2, 6-0 Los Angeles.
And now it's time for the Big Stick Player of the Week Award, brought to you by new improved Old Spice Stick Deodorant and Antiperspirant. Orel Hershiser of Los Angeles is this week's winner. The 25-year-old rookie tossed a perfect game against Cincinnati for 7 2/3 innings, ended up with a 2-hit shutout. It was Hershiser's 3rd 2-hitter in 16 days, his 4th shutout in 5 starts. Since entering the Dodgers starting rotation at the end of June, Hershiser has averaged almost 1 strikeout per inning. And after the All-Star break, he compiled a string of 34 consecutive scoreless innings. The win over Cincinnati raised his record to 7-4 and lowered his ERA to 2.70. Congratulations, Hirsch. That's all for now, folks. See you next week on This Week in Baseball.
Orel Hershiser to lead things off. The man of the hour at Dodger Stadium in the bottom of the 6th inning. Followed by Sachs and Hatcher. In Game 7, the Dodgers with a run in the first and 5 in the second when they sent 11 men to the plate, leading 6-0. And Hershiser tries to bunt his way on, 0-1.
Well, he did this game back in Game 3. Of course, it was raining. Talked about last year, 19 hits, led all National League pitchers. This year he hasn't hit that well. A lot of bunts, 19 sacrificed bunts. So while he hasn't had a great year average-wise, he's done his job that you have to do in the National League. Had a great stroke in batting practice, but that doesn't count. No, he knew he wasn't throwing batting practice. Talking about Terry Leach.
Line to left field and hooking away from McReynolds, but he gets there to backhand it. So Kevin on the run to take care of Hershiser. One down, and a huge ovation again for Hershiser as he trots back to the dugout.
I think the impressive thing about Hershiser so far is that he's pitching this game like it's a one-run game. You consider that sequence of pitches to Strawberry. A 1-0 breaking ball, a 3-1 changeup, and a 3-2 curveball.
Well, great pitchers, what they do, they go out and they try to throw a shutout. When they give up one run, they try to throw a one-run ball game. He hasn't given up a run yet.
Base hit for Sachs, his third of the night. So a big night for Steve. He's 3 for 4. He scored twice. He's driven in 2.
Outfielder, Hershiser.
And it will bring up Hatcher. What's he doing? Ordering champagne? One and 0.
If Hershiser can pitch like it's still a close game, I think the Dodgers offense should treat it as a close game too. And again, go for the throat. 6 runs, team like the Mets can come back. Expect Sachs to run.
1-1.
Well, either that or hit and run. Again, Hatcher handles the bat so well. You got to do something to try to get a couple more runs. We talked about tacking on runs. It makes Orel's job a lot easier. Makes Tommy's job a lot easier, and it makes the Mets' job that much more difficult.
He bluffs going, and Hatcher fouls it at the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. With Sachs at first and 1 out in the bottom of the 6th inning. And the Dodgers on top in Game 7, 6-0. Mickey Hatcher. The Dodgers traded him away the year before. They were last in the World Series in '81, and then he was sent away by Minnesota, released last year, and the Twins went on to win. So he's been on the verge twice, and now he's closer than ever. To left field and deep, but playable for McReynolds. Sachs is tagging and takes about 5 steps towards second and holds on at first as Hatcher just missed getting all of that one. 2 down.
That's a good play that Sachs goes back. I mean, it's an easy fly ball. He read it off the bat. He knows that McReynolds is an outstanding left fielder, so, but you don't know. He may fall down catching the ball, and you might be able to advance into scoring position. Well, they say go halfway, but not on a routine ball like that, and it was hit fairly deep, especially for Hatcher with only 1 home run all the entire season.
2 down, Stubbs with Sachs going, and Stubbs rips it into right field for a base hit. Strawberry backhands on the hop and throws into second with Sachs stopping at third. And Franklin Stubbs, who came into the game when Gibson left, is 2 for 2. And that's 10 hits now for the Dodgers.
A good low ball hitter, and look where the ball is. Really about belt high, right down the middle. Leach, a sinker baller, and Sachs running, knows he's going to go to third, but he's thinking home. Now he's going to wait for the third base coach to stop him. Otherwise, he's thinking I can score on a long single.
Two out, 2 on. Amalfitano with Sachs as Mike Marshall steps in. One of the few not to join the hit parade tonight. He's 0 for 3. 1-1 pitch. is grounded toward third, scooped up by Jeffries, and the throw is low, but Backman is there to make the grab at the bag. To the 7th, 6-0 Dodgers. McReynolds will lead off, then Jeffries will bat second in the inning, and Carter hitting third. Go back and take a look here at Stubbs.
I'll tell you, credit Franklin Stubbs with hustling to second base. That's really what's virtuous about base runners. It's not virtuous when you beat out an infield hit. That's not hustling. What's hustling is to get a run for a ball club, and that's what Stubbs was doing then.
And credit Backman, too, on a throw just above the bag at second base. As McReynolds grounds it down to Griffin. A nice convenient hop for Alfredo, one away. And Alfredo may be going back to Oakland. And there's a big Oakland connection with Jose Gonzalez now taking over in left field as Hatcher is done for the night. The Dodgers with Griffin coming over and Jay Howell. And they signed Mike Davis as well. And of course on the other side you've got Bob Welch and Rick Honeycutt, who would meet their former mates in an all-California series, as 1974 would be revisited. That year the A's beat the Dodgers in 5 in the World Series.
It's a good trade for everybody. And really, you know, Belcher pitched well here. Welch pitched great, won 15 games up there, 15 or 16. Great pitcher at home. The advantage, though, and of course if the Dodgers do go to the World Series, is that Oakland's had a chance to set up their pitching rotation. The big question is, in my mind, will Hershiser go all the way tonight and then have to come back on 3 days rest to pitch game number 2?
Two and one with one out on Jeffries. And it's 3-1. Dodgers trying to go to the series for the first time since '81. It would be Lasorda's 4th trip. Hatcher done for the night, but still up and at him.
Well, somebody's got a pace for Kirk Gibson.
3-2.
Kirk, we understand, in the clubhouse and in a great deal of pain, having the hamstring iced down.
Mentioning Lasorda's 4th series, Tommy got to the World Series his first 2 years, 77 and 78, losing both times to the Yankees. That's driven to deep right field. Marshall goes all the way back and can't make the catch as it caroms back off the wall, and Jeffries pulls in at second with a double. So the Mets get their first extra base hit. Jeffries has his 2nd hit. It's the 3rd time he's hit the ball hard tonight, and it will bring up Carter.
This is the 6th hit off Hershiser by Greg Jeffries in this series. I believe it's the first extra base, not his first extra base, because he did hit a curveball off Belcher. Great effort by Marshall, but ball right about at the middle of the 3 off the wall. Good play by John Shelby to back him up to keep it at a double.
And the Dodger bullpen will get busy for the first time tonight.
I'll tell you what Carter can do is bunt, drag bunt, and Hamilton should be alert at third base.
1-0.
Really a good time to do it. You are trying to play the one base at a time type of offense as you see John Tudor and Alejandro Pena warming up for the Dodgers.
Tudor warming up in case they want to get a left-handed hitter as Carter hits one to center field. Right at Shelby. Jeffries tags, but he's not going anywhere. And there are 2 down. And that'll bring up Kevin Elster.
I'll tell you what, Shelby didn't make a good throw, but he got rid of the ball so quickly that, I mean, even in this situation where you don't think about going, Jeffries just stayed at second.
Kevin Elster.
I'll tell you, conceivably, that may have been Gary Carter's last at bat as a Met. I mean, there's been talk about him being traded to San Diego, packaged with a bunch of guys. Dave Magadan has been mentioned. Len Dykstra has been mentioned. Sid Fernandez has been mentioned. And the 2 catchers that San Diego has in their farm system, Sandy Alomar Jr. and Benito Santiago. Santiago, the Rookie of the Year last year.
Socha has that one skitter away, and moving to third on the wild pitch is Jeffries.
And Sandy Alomar Jr., the son of the third base coach of the Padres, Sandy Alomar. A marvelous prospect, one of the best prospects in baseball. I tell you, Gary looks like he's packing his catcher's equipment. And his counterpart, Mike Scioscia, a tough play. I'll tell you, when a catcher does that, that means they're packing up. And Mackey Sasser, if Sasser does pinch hit, even though Howard Johnson's out there now, we may see Sasser, I don't know. Carter does have a separate catching bag. We'll see if he comes out in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, a strike. Here's Sasser putting the gear on, because what's happening here is you've got Elster batting, Leach due up next. Obviously, you'd pinch hit, and then you'd make the double switch and insert the pitcher into Carter's spot. To left field and deep, but playable for Jose Gonzalez. And at the end of 6 1/2, it remains Los Angeles 6, New York nothing. Well, it's beginning to look very much as if those tickets will be used. World Series tickets for Game 1, which would be played here on Saturday. And Game 2 as well, and then the middle 3 games in the American League Park in Oakland, and the final 2, if necessary, back here at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, where the Dodgers lead the Mets by a score of 6 0. 1 run in the first, and then 11 men to the plate in the 2nd inning. The Mets made 2 critical errors, and another that doesn't show up in the scorebook on the bunt to the right side, with Hernandez going back to the bag and nobody there to field it. And the Dodgers, when the inning was done, had scored 5, and it's been that way since the 2nd. 6 0, back of Hershiser. Here's Rick Aguilera out of the bullpen now to face LA in the bottom of the 7th inning. And he'll look at Shelby, Scioscia, and Hamilton as Mackey Sasser comes in to catch. Sasser will hit in the number 9 spot, meaning he will lead off in the 8th inning. And with Carter done, and as Tim mentioned, it could be the end of Gary's career as a Met. You don't know, but it's possible. Aguilera bats in Carter's spot, number 7. John Shelby, 0 for 2 tonight, plus a sac fly. 0-1.
You talk about possible trades. Rick Aguilera, 11-game winner last year, had elbow problems, allowed David Cone to be a starter. David won 20 ball games. He's got to be healthy if they're really going to trade away pitchers, not to mention the uncertainty about Bob Ojeda. Threw very well the other day. I was very impressed. Came in here at Dodger Stadium, and Game 2 didn't look like he was very sharp, but threw the ball very well in New York.
1-2. An inglorious Mark being approached by Shelby. Well, at least he's got good company. He shares a mark with Strawberry. Things could be worse.
Of course, you can help a ball club even if you strike out, and you have to go back to the valiant effort in Game 1, and then the great catch he made in the game that Hershiser came in to end the ball game, not to mention the one in Game 4 also that ended the ball game, the 7-4 lead. So a lot of people give him a lot of credit. We've talked about maybe not great agility and with Gibson in left and Marshall in right, but Shelby's an outstanding center fielder that can also throw very well.
Mike Scioscia now with 1 out and the bases empty. And it's highly doubtful if the Dodgers win that Scioscia would be the MVP in the series, because you'd have to look at Hershiser, you'd have to look at Gibson, you'd have to look at Tim Belcher. Don't forget about him with the 2 victories. But it was Mike Scioscia's home run that tilted the series in the 9th inning of Game 4.
Fastball hit deep to right field. Back goes Strawberry. Way back. It's out of here. The Dodgers tie it. How do you like that? I cannot believe it. Mike Scioscia, not a power hitter, ripped one over the right field wall. It's all even at 4.
Looped into shallow center, but Backman goes out and makes the play on the grass. So 2 down now in the 7th inning. And that'll bring up Jeff Hamilton.
Third baseman, Jeff Hamilton.
to McReynolds in left. And Aguilera has a 1-2-3 inning. On to the 8th. It remains 6-0 Dodgers in Game 7. Orel Hershiser tying a championship series record. Roger Clemens, Boston against California in '86, worked 22 2/3 innings, and if Orel can get one more out, he'll own the record by himself. 8th inning, he's working on a shutout at 6-0, and Mackey Sasser to lead off for New York. 0-1. Sasser, Dykstra, and Backman. Shelby moving over. 5 outs to go. 1 out in the 8th inning. Strawberry in the Mets dugout. Darrell, a good series overall, but as we mentioned before, relatively quiet. The booming home run the other night and 8 other hits. But in terms of propitious hits, you take a look at somebody like Gibson, and he hit him at very opportune times.
Well, that's what's so impressive about the Dodgers staff. They gave Strawberry opportunity to get hits, but parts of the plate keep away from his power. Fernandez, about a few mistakes that he had to hit.
And Dykstra gets hit by the pitch, and the Dodgers, I think, are going to contend he really didn't attempt to get out of the way of it.
None whatsoever.
Harry Wendelstedt's already made that call in this ballpark, however.
20 years ago, to keep Don Drysdale's streak alive, he said Dick Dietz did not really try to get out of the way of a pitch with the bases loaded. They made him come up again. Drysdale got out of the inning, and the streak went on.
Well, he did move his back foot. It's just the wrong one. And again, Lenny is a tough little guy, and I'll take one look. He follows it right down to his toe.
Second time in the series that Lenny's been hit by a pitch.
So Dykstra doing anything to get on as Backman comes to the plate and takes outside. Ball 1, 1-0. And it's 2-0. And the Dodger bullpen busy again. Carter done for the night. And in the Dodger bullpen, Tudor, the lefty, up again, and Jay Howell, the right-hander. And of course, Howell hasn't pitched since the Pine Tar episode.
Tell you, it's a superhuman effort obviously required on the part of the Mets, but if they load them up or something like that and you change pitchers, you don't know what might happen.
And Hershiser behind on the count, 3-0. Mets haven't had 2 men on in the same inning since the first. And now Backman draws the walk. So runners at first and second with 1 out in the 8th inning. The Dodgers still need 5 outs. Lasorda confers with Perodowski, and here comes Keith Hernandez. And Tommy pretty much saying to Ron, what do you think? Ron says, what do you think, Skip?
Well, yeah, I can imagine the answer when he says to Orel, how do you feel? As if he's going to tell him I'm a little tired. I think some pitchers will do that. That's what you want, honesty, but he might have been tired going into this ball game.
If he comes out of the game, it'll be about a 6-3 on the Richter scale.
Read his lips, I'm fine.
The Mets hoping a bloop and a blast will put him back in this thing.
Well, it will. Definitely will. But you know what happened to Back when he tried to make good pitches? Because as we talked about, he wants to shut out. Didn't make them, and then he lost them. I don't know what Hernandez is going to do here, but I would think he'd get a pretty good pitch to swing at early in the count. I mean, he's going to try to run the ball away from him. But Hernandez usually takes that ball to left field.
Slowly hit. Stubbs settles for the 1 at first base as Hershiser covers. Runners move up. 2 down. And Strawberry coming up. The Darrell serenade.
Right fielder, Orel Hershiser.
A moment to collect his thoughts. And interesting thing, in the 59 scoreless inning scheme, we're at a stat where he had 32 runners in scoring position, now 1 scored. Talk about getting outs at the right time.
2 men in scoring position here with 2 down. 0-1. 1-1. One and two. Now the crowd will really turn it up a notch with 2 strikes. Sacks. And at the end of 7.5, it remains 6-0 Dodgers. Al Michaels, Jim Palmer, Tim McCarver. Game 7. The Dodgers got a run in the first, 5 in the second. Orel Hershiser has shut New York out through 8. The Dodgers come up in the bottom of the 8th. They're 3 outs away from the World Series. 3 outs away from their first pennant since 1981. And in the bottom of the 8th inning, Alfredo Griffin to lead things off, and then Hershiser and Sachs, the 8, 9, and 1 hitters, with Rick Aguilera on the mound for the Mets. And a little disturbance down the line and left, causing a momentary stoppage. And that is, of course, the Dodger clubhouse in anticipation of a major celebration. 0-1.
It's that preparation for the World Series, if it does happen for the Dodgers, will probably be in late afternoon tomorrow. Tommy was talking about in the pregame show.
I'll tell you, both ends, and Jim, you and I have both been on both ends of the spectrum. And I'll tell you, it's just out of sync. Your elation is to the point of giddiness, and your despair is lower than low.
Backman to Hernandez, and there's one away.
And you just can't help but think of what might have been. And so many of those situations in this series.
Hershiser. That's what you call an oral salute. And he'll get another one as he grounds out to short. 2 down.
Well, that oral salute has come after the performance of oral surgery on the Mets tonight.
Second baseman, Steve Bennett.
I read a story where they said, I don't know if it's just standard fare that everybody in the Dodgers gets a picture from Frank Sinatra, but he got one from Frank and he spelled it O-R-A-L. Now, obviously, that was early in his career. It must have been his rookie year. So if you're listening, Frank, get his name right. Send him another one.
Frank always did it his way anyway. Sachs fouls it off. 0-1.
And what a way.
Even if he never won a spelling bee. Two out, bottom of the 8th.
He's more interested in phrases. Another way he phrased the song.
Aguilera takes care of Sachs.
And now the end is near.
Very near, my dear.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charter course, each careful way along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all and I stood tall and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing, and now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. Yes, it was my way. Huh? How was that?
In decisive games in the championship series, it used to be a best of 5. Oakland, Baltimore 73, Catfish Hunter blank the Orioles. Last year, best of 7 National League, Danny Cox of St. Louis blank San Francisco. And now Orel Hershiser against the New York Mets, who are 3 outs away from flunking this oral test as they trail 6-0. McReynolds, Jeffries, and then a pinch hitter for Aguilera.
Orel moved third baseman Jeff Hamilton in. I don't think he's aware that it's 0 for 21, but he knows he probably doesn't hit him well. He knows he made bunts, so you take the bunt away from him.
To left center field and deep and all the way back, and making the catch on the run is Gonzalez. Gonzalez to the gap.
Very nice play by Gonzalez. You see how cautious he goes after. I bet he's never caught a ball like that in his life. Look at his right hand, how cautiously he's cradling the ball to make sure.
One out. Jeffries at the plate. On deck to bat for Aguilera is Lee Mazzilli. To Griffin. One out to go. Mazzilli to the plate. Gibson back on the bench to savor the moment.
Isn't that what he said the season's all about? Getting to the World Series?
His second in 5 years.
Gets hit by an 0-2 pitch. So the Mets still alive. Barely. Elster due up. Howard Johnson will come up to bat for him. With 2 out of the 9th inning, Howard Johnson coming to the plate. For Johnson, a very tough series. And in fact, it earned him a seat on the bench the last 2 nights as Elster went in there to play shortstop. And now Howard comes up to bat for Elster with 2 out of the 9th inning. Mazzilli going, and nobody is covering, so they just let Mazzilli go down to second base. He wasn't being held on, and he figures, why not? So Mazzilli with an uncontested steal, and the count 0 balls and 1 strike on Howard Johnson.
Got to do it because you take away the force play. And Howard hits the ball in the hole with good speed. He's going to beat it out. So no gamble involved at all.
The 0-1 pitch. And again, a strike away. 0-2. Started out of the dugout, and Wendelstedt said no. They were running out of the dugout. Fabulous scene. 1-2 the count.
2-2.
Gotta give Harry some credit. The ball was inside, and emotionally, you know, you hear the crowd, you call a guy out.
Yeah.
I know Orel Hershiser wants that pitch, but Howard Johnson, he still wants to get on. The other team doesn't win till you make the 27th out, and they have more runs.
The 2-2 pitch. 3-2. Mackey Sasser out on deck. The theme is California, here we stay. The Dodgers have gone from 16 games under 500 to the World Series.
Lee Mazzilli is on second, 2 men down. Here's the pitch on the way. Foul back. Foul ball against the backstop screen. And again, it will be 3-2. Now he's ready. The pitch thrown. Strike 3. Howard Johnson took a call. Third strike. Here come the Dodgers. They're the National League champions. And they swarm Orel Hershiser. He shut out the New York Mets. And the Dodgers are going to the World Series. A magnificent performance by Orel Hershiser. That was his 5th strikeout of the night. In the 9th inning, no runs, no hits, and 1 left on. Congratulations to Tommy Lasorda, his coaching staff, and his ball team. They beat the New York Mets in Game 7 of the League Championship Series. They will represent the National League in the World Series against Oakland starting Saturday night here in Dodger Stadium.
The Dodgers scoring early and often. 1 in the first, 5 in the second. Win the pennant. Beat the Mets 6-0 in Game 7. In the Dodger clubhouse, Gary Bender.
Al, the National League champions, the Dodgers are here. It's exciting as we're getting ready now to present the National League trophy. Tommy Lasorda coming up here along with Fred Clare and also Peter O'Malley. And to present the trophy here to the Happy Dodger group, the National League president, Bartlett Giamatti.
Peter and Fred and Tommy, it's an enormous privilege for me to present the Warren Giles Trophy, which is emblematic of the National League Championship, to a great organization. Congratulations. all yours.
Thank you. Fred, let me start with you. You were the architect. You made the sweeping changes at the start of the year that worked.
It's an organizational victory is what it is, and to all of our scouts, all of our minor league people, and most of all to this guy right here and the staff, and to our players who were just so dedicated to win. There wasn't anybody who picked us to win, but this team would not quit.
Peter, that's a good case. You did not quit.
We have a great team. We're very fortunate. Here in the clubhouse, the ball player, the manager, the coaches, the front office, we have a winning team, and we're very proud of everybody. Thank you.
Tommy, you called this a team of destiny.
Well, it's time to give thanks and praise. Thanks to Peter for allowing us to go out and get the ball players. Thanks to Fred for making the deals. And thanks to the players, because nobody thought they could do it. Nobody thought we could beat the Mets. To me, the Mets are without a doubt the best team in the National League. And we were very, very fortunate to beat an outstanding ball club. I'm proud of our team because of the fact that they believed. They kept believing in themselves, and that's what's important. And of course, we got to thank God and our families and everybody that put up with us the whole year. We're very, very happy to be representing the National League in the Fall Classic, and we're certainly looking forward to it.
You've won 3 other pennants. Is this the sweetest?
This is best. I'll tell you, I had great players, but these guys here, nobody thought they could win. When we went to spring training, everybody said, hey, the Dodgers are through. And to restore the tradition of this organization is the greatest feeling in the world for me and everybody here.
Well, you're going to enjoy this tonight, but what about Oakland? It all begins here Saturday.
Hey, wait, we want to just have a good time tonight. We're all going to have a nice celebration. The players, I'll tell you something, my coaches, the trainers, they were all fantastic. It took a lot of hard work.
Tommy, who will be your starter in Game 1?
We haven't even thought about it. All we were thinking about was winning this game tonight. This was the biggest game of our life. And I'll tell you something, they came out battling, they came out believing. And this guy, Bulldog Hershiser, what a tremendous victory. What a job this guy has done for us. And if he's not the Cy Young Award winner, I want the FBI to investigate it.
Well, he is the MVP. Orel Hershiser went the distance in this game, and here to present the Chevrolet Major League Baseball Most Valuable Player Award to Orel Hershiser is Ron Daniels, who is the area manager west for the Chevrolet Motor Division. Ron?
Gary, thank you, Gary. Orel, on behalf of Chevrolet, congratulations. Thank you so much.
Orel, coming into this game, 4 appearances. Did you ever think you would go the whole distance?
Well, there were only 2 people that I really thought about during the whole time, and that's Pat Screener, our physical therapist. He has worked very, very hard to strengthen my arm, and we have a fantastic program. And I just thank God. I thank God that I could have an arm that can bounce back like this. The Mets are an unbelievable team. They're a very, very tough team. I think they've only been shut out 4 or 5 times all year, and I had no idea that I could shut them out on just 2 days rest after relief.
You had a shaky first inning. There was talk that your curveball wasn't working for you.
Well, my mechanics were very bad for about the first 2 or 3 innings because between the adrenaline and the short rest, I just didn't know how to cope with it. And finally, I got into a groove and made some adjustments. I came in here and watched the video of my first inning, started to make some adjustments, and then it felt better.
Orel, what about the last out? What was going through your mind?
Well, I was so sorry that I hit Mazzilli. I was so pumped up, the ball cut on me instead of sinking, overthrew it and hit him on the 0-2 pitch. And then Howard Johnson took a fastball right down the middle. I guess he must have been looking for a curveball because I just said, here, hit it. Sandlot ball like that relief appearance against McReynolds, just here, hit it, and fortunately he didn't.
You're really going to have that label Bulldog now.
Well, these guys are fantastic. You get an MVP on this team, but this team is a team effort, and this trophy goes to a whole ball club. Tim Belcher, a rookie, set a record for 2 wins in a series. Steve Sachs is kinetic and just goes on and on and on, and Kirk Gibson is out there playing lame. Mike Marshall and Mike Sosha came up with big hits, and we just look at it as a big team effort.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's go back down to Al Michaels.
All right, Gary, so the Los Angeles Dodgers are the 1988 National League champions. And we'll be back in Los Angeles in just a moment. And we've heard from the Dodgers. We're now going to hear from the Mets. And let's go to the Mets clubhouse right now and check in with Corey McFerrin. Corey?
Okay, Al, with Davey Johnson. And Davey, first of all, Orel Hershiser, obviously brilliant tonight. But I got to ask you about that second inning when everything fell apart. What happened there? What's your explanation for what happened?
Well, we had a little problem on the bunt, and we didn't react to that. And then we made a few physical mistakes, and that hasn't been characteristic of this ball club at all. And we gave them about 4 extra outs.
Overall, obviously, talent-wise, the experts say the New York Mets are tops in the National League, expected to win the division, expected to win against the Dodgers this series. You haven't done it. Does that make it even tougher to accept the loss?
Trying to make me feel bad, Corey. Yeah, it certainly does. You know, we have a fine ball club. They battled back a lot of times this year. I felt we were on a good roll, and it would be hard to be beaten this series. And you have to hand it off to the Dodgers. Orel Hershiser had a great series. I'm sure he's probably the MVP. And
he is. I believe.
You just have to give them credit for what they did.
Davey, one more question for you. What is your status next year, and what kind of impact do you suppose this loss might have, and whether you're back or not next season?
I don't know, Corey, but, you know, we'll address that after the season.
Would you like to be back?
Of course. I don't want to leave with this taste in my mouth.
All right. With Davey Johnson, a long road home for the Mets to New York tonight, I'm sure. Back to Al Michaels.
They're an outstanding ball club. We really had to play our best baseball to beat them, and it feels great. It just feels great to have accomplished this much because we were the underdogs all the way. We came back. We beat an outstanding ball club. It took a tremendous effort from everyone.
The Bulldog. Were you talking from inning to inning? Did he ever say, hey, I'm running out of gas?
No, sir. He got stronger as the game went on. He's the type pitcher you've got to yank out of the game. He never wants to come out of the ball game. He was still throwing the ball well. Of course, the early runs made it much easier.
Congratulations, Mike. Get after the A's now.
Okay, thank you very much, Gary.
Mike Sosha. Let's go back now to Al Michaels.
Okay, Gary, and we'll be back in Los Angeles to wrap it up from Dodger Stadium right after this.